Good afternoon. Welcome to one of Rusty's happy places, Unity Church of Bon Air. I'm Reverend Patty Bittner, and I have the privilege and honor of officiating this celebration of life today. This community loved Rusty, and we are so glad that you are here. Thank you for coming to surround his family with your love and to celebrate how blessed we all were to know him and to witness to a life lived deeply. His was a life filled with love, a touch of golf, and service. Your presence here is a great gift to his family and friends because love always makes a difference. Each person here makes a difference. We are here to do very sacred work today as we honor a beloved one's life. This gathering gives shape to our grief, honors a life that matters, and connects us all to one another. I invite us into prayer. Let's take a nice deep breath and then release it. And let your shoulders drop as we move our focus into our heart space. Recall in this moment, the light of love is within each of us. This light is ever calling us to know that we are connected, that we are one. This light lives in us in beautiful powers of wisdom, love, faith, strength, and imagination. We claim this time together today for a very sacred purpose, to dwell in the love that lives and breathes each of us, to enfold Rusty's beloveds in a circle of love that says, we care deeply about you and what you are experiencing. Know that you are not going through this alone. Know that you have everything you need to go through this time of remembering, honoring, and missing Rusty. So in a moment of silence, let's listen for Spirit's voice to speak to us. So here we go, into the silence. You are safe here to feel whatever comes up. Tears, laughter, sometimes anger, it could be tenderness. We are joyously celebrating the outrageously wonderful gift that we knew as Rusty. We give thanks for this time, this place that he loved, the people he loved, and for his love and laughter so generously shared with many family, friends, clients, cats, and with the beauty of nature. And so it is, and so it shall be. Today, emotions are very close to the surface, and it's a vulnerable time. I invite you to let the feelings come up and release them. It's how we heal, by giving our emotions expression. As I look out, I see the faces that made the world in which Rusty lived, faces that mattered to him, faces that invited him to shine his light. We know grief when someone has been a part of our life and leaves this realm. We feel the loss, And that's the downside of loving. Yet that is not the end of the story. Today we recognize the embrace of God into which our loved ones return. So I want you to stop right now and picture one of your favorite times with Rusty when joy was on his face. That energy still survives. We come from love and we return to love. Our tears of sadness can turn into tears of relief when we allow ourselves to sense what it's like to move past the limitations of a body that no longer functioned well to a deep sense of peace and oneness with the One. Rusty loved all kinds of music. When I would go to visit him, he was often listening to favorite tunes on his iPad. So I invite us to become still and take in this song that Claudia sings as medicine for our souls today.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods and forest glades I wander and hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees, when I look down from lofty mountain grandeur and see the brook and feel the gentle breeze, then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. I come to the garden alone when the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and He walks with me and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known, and the joy we share as we tarry there. None other has ever known.
Thank you, Claudia. Now I want to share with you some scripture. And the first reading is the 23rd Psalms, but it has some comments added to it. And I don't know who wrote this. It was given to me without an author, but it's very beautiful. So hear now these words of comfort. The Lord is my shepherd. That's relationship. I shall not want. That's supply. The Lord makes me to lie down in green pastures. That's rest. He leads me beside still waters. That's refreshment. He restores my soul. That's healing. He leads me in paths of righteousness. That's guidance. For his name's sake, that's purpose. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. That's protection. For you are with me. That's faithfulness. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. That's peace. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That's hope. You anoint my head with oil. That's consecration. My cup overflows. That's abundance. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's blessing. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's security. These words remind us that the love of God is the energy in which we live and move and have our being. Now, a couple sentences from John 14, verses 1 through 3 and verse 27. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may be where I am. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Jesus taught us that the power of God within is bigger than any fear that may rise up. So let's think about Rusty for a few minutes. Lao Tzu said, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Rusty was loved and loved deeply. He was a man of strength, courage, prayer, and passion. He grew up in Pennsylvania and cheered his home teams on when they played, even after he moved. He became a Richmond resident in 1981, building homes, doing home improvements, and creating a home inspection business. Just this week, a man from the bank we use was in the building, and he told me how much Rusty helped him when he and his wife were buying a home. You know, his legacy extends around our city. Once, when Rusty met John and Ellie Neubauer and Ellie Gill, he was swept into the unity fever. He helped make the little house a church, and then kept a close eye on things while the construction of this beautiful facility was happening. He was our unpaid facilities manager and clocked in untold hours tending to stuff in the gardens, to helping create the promenade, or fuss with the fountains, and that was a lot of fussing, and anything that quit working inside the building. I learned the term churched out from Rusty. After a span of lots of church duties, he would tell me, "I'm churched out and I'm taking a breather." That's self-care, and I'm glad he would pause and renew. But here's the thing that most deeply touched me about Rusty. Now, we know he loved a well-kept, attractive campus, yet he knew that the church was the people. He was always telling others about this community, no matter where he was. The last time I was in his hospital room, he was telling the nurse about Unity, and we ended up digging up a picture of the solar flower off my phone so she could see that. But what he valued was the love that happens here. Some Sundays, he would come up to me and pull out a little notebook. I was always jealous because most of the things I own don't have pockets. And he'd flip it open, he'd say, "Did you meet so-and-so? They were here for the first time today." He cared enough to write down people's names and stay in touch. It was important to him to help new people feel welcomed. Members have told me how he helped them with non-church stuff. He made house calls. When he saw someone doing a great job, he would say, "Good job, good job." The outstanding music team here made him smile. He was thrilled with the Montessori school being here. He and some other members helped get the play dome situated in the gardens, and that took some doing. And it was Rusty and Michael Matthews that removed the old wooden sign after our new sign was installed. Rusty and the men helped put together many Papa's spaghetti dinners. The men even prepared the sauce at his house for part of that time. Then they dressed up and served us with joy. He helped throw a 50th anniversary party for William and Glenda. He showed up for hard work, hard physical labor, and he showed up for heart work for decades. We are so grateful for his light in our midst. UCBA mattered deeply to Rusty, and of course, his family brought him great joy. He was proud of Brian and Lindsay, their spouses, and the grands. He loved the victories in their lives and continued to wish joy for them. He stayed in touch with his siblings. And then about 25 years ago, out in our gardens, he and Laura married on a record-breaking, incredibly hot day. They created a life of shared goals and worked together, adding to their Bonnier home, recently moving into their new condo, and on assorted other church projects. He loved taking good care of his beloved. Now, Laura and I both wish that he had left some detailed instructions about things that only he knew. Rusty gave life his best, and in return had a life filled with the values that were so important to him: family, friends, spirituality, purpose, work, service, generosity, playing golf with friends, and enjoying the gift of life with those he loved. So as I close, I want to share with you the end of a letter that Rusty wrote to me and the entire church when he decided it was time to resign as a trustee. He knew he needed to focus on his needs at this point. So his last sentence: may God continue to bless each and every one of you. May he or she continue to bless our church. Love you all, Rusty Rothrock. So now I'm going to invite Laura to come up. Get my stuff out of the way. Get you a mic turned on. There we go.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. Just wanted to let you know, Rusty always, when he worked, he would carry around his yellow tablet. So, of course, I had to use that. And he always had his Bic Softfeel medium pen. So I had to have it today myself. And that's what we use today to sign in for the guest book. And he would get upset with me if he saw that I was using one, and he'd be like, did you ask? I'm like, no. I'm like, you've got plenty in the drawer. So, he got over it. So anyway, in 1997, I was up in Western Pennsylvania in a job that I was like, and had broken up with a long-term boyfriend. And I had decided that I was 30 years old, I was done with men, and I was just going to stick it out for another year, get my 5 years in, be vested in a pension, and then go somewhere else. Well, out of the blue, a headhunter called me, and I never have found out who it was that gave this person my name. And they called and said, would you be interested in a job in a bank in Northern Virginia? Sure. Well, then they saw my resume and they said, actually, you're more qualified for a supervisor position in our office in Richmond. Would you consider that? Yes. So in 1997, in February, I moved to Richmond and moved into the apartment right next door to Rusty. As the moving company is moving my furniture in, he comes by and he says, hello, introduced himself and said, if you ever need anything, let me know. So he walks away and my mom elbows me and she's like, he's good looking. Yeah, he was. So, my sister Linda, she likes to say that it was her that did this because the apartment had French doors. Well, it had a washer and dryer in the building. That's why I picked it. So that wasn't the deal. Well, then my sister, Sue, also had a little hand in this. She's like, huh? In April of that year, she's got her first job. She's living on her own for the first time. She's got to do taxes. Who's going to help her? Her older sister. So I go knocking on Rusty's door, and I said, excuse me, I've got to go up to my sister's for a few days, and I'm visiting with her. Would you mind getting my newspaper? He said, sure. We stood there and talked for 20 minutes. And then he always laughed because he said, I don't know why, but I just reached out to shake your hand, and I don't know why I did that. But you had a really nice handshake. So I don't know if that's what did it or not, but oh well. But Rusty, as Reverend Patty mentioned, he loved music. He loved traveling. I've got to go to many different places with Rusty, even as far away as China. So he loved going out on the James River. And when I met him, he had a wave runner. And because he worked for himself, he could go out during the day, and he'd call me and say, I'm going off to the river. And I'm like, I'm in an office with no windows. Thanks. So, he'd always be out there on the James River, and he loved going to Ocean Isle, North Carolina. And he would take his daughter, Lindsay, and one of her friends. And for many years, that friend was Beverly. And it got to the point where Rusty would go to the beach in a 3-bedroom condo with 5 women. It would be me, Lindsay, Bev, and my 2 sisters. And he had no problems with that because we took the Wave Runner. He could go out on the Intercoastal Waterway and enjoy his time, or he'd go and golf. And as Reverend Patty mentioned, he had a love of music, which his kids inherited. They've told me, he had such eclectic tastes, and that's why we do too. He loved all sorts of things, and at one point he's talking to my sister and mentioning Otis Redding and talking about playing these songs for her, Tramp and Mr. Pitiful. Well, if you look at his phone, her name is there as Tramp, and she calls him Mr. P. So, the great love of music just carried over to so many other people. And he was a very good writer. And he would write tremendously long things. So this is a letter that he wrote in November of 2000 to my parents, asking for permission to marry me, and explaining to them that he was very concerned about our age difference. And when we met, I'm 30, he told me he was 45. He was actually 50. and just, thought maybe if I knock 5 years off, that'll be okay. But in September, on his birthday, I sit down, and I don't know why I sit down in this one chair that I never sat by, but on the little table next to it is a birthday card from his mom. Happy 50th birthday. I'm like, is there something you want to tell me? So, yeah, I found out, and I was fine with that, but that was something that as I look back at this letter that, he was very concerned about initially. And he even said I was prepared to step aside because he was afraid that I wanted something else. But we were together for about 5 years before we got married. And we did get married out in the gardens. And Claudia sang at our wedding. And it was the hottest day up until that point. And so I got to help out with him in the gardens too, and he loved to tell people that, yes, I even mixed concrete for the Neubauer Arbor that's out there. He loved this church building, and our names are somewhere in the back of this church in the walls, because instead of having the tree topping where you just sign one of the beams that are going up, he had the walls basically done except for drywall, and everybody was able to come in and write their names and write a message within the walls of the church. So he not only is his blood, sweat, and tears in this church, but his name is permanently within the walls of this church. One of the things that I was going to mention, Reverend Patty already mentioned that, as we're in the hospital and he's telling nurses about Unity and the Smart Flower and everything, the hospice nurse came in, and we're talking about that. And she wanted to know about him. So these are some of the things that I wrote down that he had said. I am a spiritual being having a physical experience. I love my family. I still have so much work on my desk. I need the physical ability to get to it. And he wants to be able to do basics. And he wants to be helpful. And he wanted to walk. And at that point, he couldn't. He was in a hospital bed. And she asked, how did he want to spend this part of his life's journey? And he said, I want to be straight with my kids. I want to maintain a happy and acceptable lifestyle. And that he was working on a project at church that was going to be his future home, the columbarium. And he proceeded to tell her about the columbarium. And what he was planning would be out just outside this side of the church. And he said, that's my future home. So someday his ashes will be interred at the church that he loved so much. And I just want to say that Rusty was my best friend and that I miss him dearly. And I love him very much. So, oh, and one more thing. The poem that's here is the one that I had them put in this particular PDF, because anytime Rusty had a friend, anybody who passed away, he always wrote them a beautiful letter, and I found so many of them on his computer, and he would always include this. So that's why we put it into the flyer, so you all have a copy of what he sent to his friends. So, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. You did great. Okay, so your turn. My way.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. My way.
Laura shared with me that Rusty loved that song and got Lindsay in love with it too. So how fun to have that played. So now we're going to have a moment if a few people would like to come up and share something that's 2 minutes or less, a brief story about Rusty. And the microphone over here is turned on, and we're live streaming this for some family members and friends that couldn't be here. So you have to get your mouth very close like this to the microphone. So who wants to brave it and start us off? I'm going to send you down to this microphone. And then you want to get it. There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here to talk about Rocky because he built 2 houses for us. And so that was a real major blessing. And I'm thankful, very thankful.
That's all you want to say?
That's what I said.
Okay. Thank you. I'll help you get down here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nancy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Kelly, and I am Rusty's niece from his first wife, Diane. And I wanted to share a story with you about Rusty's impact on the world that he's leaving behind that I hope will bring you comfort. It's going to bring me a great deal of comfort. So I have a little baby here, and I also have 2 sons. I have a 6-year-old son and a 3-year-old son, and I have an unmarried, no prospect older brother. And no prospects. And he works in finance too. It's so boring. So my older brother is an amazing uncle to my boys and my daughter as well. And he said the moment that I got pregnant for the first time that his only goal in life was to be as good of an uncle as Rusty was. And so to be as good as an uncle as Rusty was is an extremely high bar, and I'm sure you know that he set the bar high for everything that he did, including those types of relationships. but my brother is knocking it out of the park. And my boys, they're so young, but they're getting the sense of optimism and hard work and fun and everything that goes into life to grow up to being kind, amazing young men. So I just want to let you know that even though Rusty is no longer here with us physically, that he's going to be living on through my children and through that impact through their children and on and on and on. So thank you very much. This is a beautiful space. I'm touched by it right away as well.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Howard Green, and I met Rusty when Susan and I joined Unity in 2004. I can say a lot about Rusty. You heard a lot of the things, but when I walk through this building and come in on Sundays, anytime I come in, I see Rusty. He touched every piece of this property, from excavation to completion to maintaining to just hard work and making this church what it is today. Some of my fond memories of Rusty is he got me involved with Papa Spaghetti and Kurt Canago, and Rusty would, and Ed Hayes would cook that sauce, and we had wonderful times. And then Rusty came up with the idea of doing Bubba Gump and shrimp. So we started doing that. He wanted to do a chili cook-off, and we did that. So he had a lot of things about not only music, but food. He loved food. Every time we'd play golf, it was either a dog and a dew or a barbecue and a beer. So we were fortunate to have a number of guys who's here today who played golf with Rusty. Ron Davis, Doug Wood, Randy Rosenberger, Bob Velchek, myself, Michael Matthews, who we lost last year. And we had wonderful times, a lot of good laughs. Matter of fact, Randy is a professor in a small college in Pennsylvania. When he first met Rusty, he said, "Are you any kin to the Rothrock State Park people up in Pennsylvania?" And Rusty said, "Yeah, I think it was his grandfather who made that happen. And the park was named after him." And in 2024, in June, at Birkdale, Ron and Bob and I got to witness Rusty's first and only hole-in-one. There's a picture right here with him holding the ball that he sunk. And it was like watching that ball go right in the hole as he teed off. So what a memory. I'll always miss Rusty. He was a passionate, wonderful, hardworking man, and we will miss him greatly. And we'll miss him here, and I'll miss him on the golf course. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kenzie. I am one of the best friends of Lindsay, Rusty's daughter. I did not get to spend any time with Rusty, but his daughter is one of my best friends, someone who will be my friend probably till the end of my life. And I wanted to say how important it is when a woman has a strong foundation and a father. It becomes everything that we are. It is our stability. It is how we choose our partners. It is how we find our strength. Lindsay has always been very strong and devoted her whole life to helping people. I truly know that that's from her dad. I know that she never worried about anything because she said, "My dad can fix anything." Anything. I don't have to worry about that. I will call my dad. And even though she had a very capable husband, she was like, "We're going to call my dad." I was like, "Okay, cool. I mean, if you need anything, call me." She was like, "No, my dad's got this." But, I just can't say enough what it is to have a strong relationship with your father and to know that you're always going to be okay because you have your dad. And we do choose men who are strong like our fathers, and I'm so happy that Lindsay has a strong husband and that she's built a beautiful family and that she's such a dynamic woman, and I know her dad is so proud of her. So just know your dad may not be here, but he lives through you, and every time you look in the mirror, you might see him too. Thank you.
you. I'm Gianna Naylor. I'm the daughter of formerly Lindsay Rothrock, current Lindsay Kavanaugh. Rusty was my grandpa, but what I have to say is mainly for my mom, because she's been going through a lot with this, and my mom used to tell me stories all the time on how she was young and how and how they would go camping and to the beach with Laura and Bev. Most of the stories were with Laura and Bev that she would tell me, and she would tell me about stories of when her, Lauren, and my Uncle Kelly would come over, and they would all play games together, and they would kind of chase each other around the house, and Rusty would catch them. But what I really want to say to my mom is that I think she's one of the strongest women I know. And I don't think she would be able to be that strong if she didn't have someone like my Papa Rusty in her life. And I just want her to know that everything is going to turn out good from this, and that he is in a better place in Jesus' arms now. And I also want to say that I love you, Mom, and I love you, Laura, and Bev, and Steve, and Lauren, and Kenzie. And I obviously, of course, love Papa Rusty, too.
Hello, everyone. It's hard not to tear up thinking about Rusty. I'm sorry about that. My name's Bob Vilcek. I was on the board not long after Rusty left the board back in 2000. One of the things that I think people don't really understand and know about Rusty was when we were back in the old home, that little church where we packed people in, and people were literally standing in the kitchen listening to the service. It was that small. But one of the things that Rusty was responsible for also was a thing called Arts in the Garden. It was wonderful. Spectacular. We had all kinds of people coming in, bringing in their wares to sell. We had food. We had all kinds of things going on. And that was so busy, it was unbelievable. We had the parking lot was constantly full, turnover all the time, and we had to use the Catholic Church for part of the parking because it was so crowded. Again, sorry. But I remember Rusty and I used to go out there and we'd literally direct traffic for the parking for people to be able to get in and out of there because it was so crowded and crammed. But we had such wonderful times during those Arts in the Garden. And that was just another one of the things that Rusty was responsible for and that we enjoyed during our time at church. Rusty pal, rest in peace.
Any other family member want to say something? Okay. Well, I don't know if Laura got snookered into this or volunteered, but she was a huge part of the Arts in the Garden. She put in many, many an hour. Okay, so now I'm going to invite Susan Green. She was Rusty's prayer chaplain to come up and share a prayer with us. Is that thing turned on? I turned it off.
This is a reading by Sylvan Kamens and Rabbi Jack Reimer. The name of it is We Remember Them. We remember them. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as they live, as long as we live, they too will live, and they are now a part of us as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. And we surely will always remember Rusty.
Thank you. So, what greater legacy can one leave than having loved and inspired people? Rusty expressed the gifts within that he bore within his heart and soul to those all around him. He quietly did what was his to do, and so invites all of us to be true to who we are. So how do we carry on while missing a presence so dear? Every time we offer the best we are to the world, we honor Rusty's memory. Every time we love our neighbor and do a small or large act of kindness, we will honor Rusty's memory. Every time we are true to the still small voice that leads and guides us to welcome another, to give of our time, talent, or treasure, or to create beauty, we honor his memory. Friends and beloved family members, Rusty's physical form has passed, but the energy that he poured into life can continue to make this world a place where love and serving matter through each one of us. Let us proudly bear the love he shared and keep the energy flowing. Call to mind a favorite memory and let the love of that moment fill your heart. So right now, I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in and put your hand on your heart and remember that he is still very much here where he has always been, in our hearts. And so it is. And one more beautiful piece of music for us.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They learn much more than I've ever known. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So our last thing is a wonderful tradition that we have here. It gives us a chance to be a little bit wild and enthusiastic. So I'm going to invite everyone to stand for this, and we're going to clap and whoop and holler and make merry as we give our beloved Rusty a standing ovation. And the family invites you to come in for more music, hugs, food, beverage, and we have Rusty's iPad with special tunes on it into our fellowship space. So thank you so much for being with us.